What is up, my fellow dickheads? Welcome, episode 6 of the fantasy. What is it called? The Simp Station Internet Football Podcast? That's what it is.
The Simp.
I am your... Simp?
Simp?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
That's the...
All right, we'll edit this in post. Don't worry.
All right. This guy's going crazy.
I don't know what I'm confused, yeah. All right, I am your constant host, Travioli. 4-1, the worst 4-1 team besides Spencer when he was probably 4-1 last year. Joined, as always, by my constant co-host, Zero, Alec Wyatt. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I got
full of energy. Let's go.
I got my second dub of the year, and it feels great.
Lucky.
All right. This is actually a winner's chat, guys.
It is.
This is 3 winners. And, of course, the lovely Carrot Top in the middle. Captain Dickhead himself. It's Agmills. How you doing?
Listen, I'm happy to be on the show. You know, I've seen some unworthy people on the show already. I figure, I was overdue. A winner, so...
Listen, we told you could be on, but you didn't have a webcam until yesterday.
It came in, and it's looking good.
Look, it's great. But don't blame us. You brought that fate upon yourself.
I'm gonna blame everybody except for myself.
That sounds about right.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, so we had a pretty. I don't know. Was this week considered exciting?
It was for me.
Fantasy. Yeah, I guess it was for us. Yeah, it was. I know only 2 games were or only 1 game was even in contention last night, and that was mine. But Agmills, start us off. What surprised you the most this week?
Biggest surprise, a win in the win column for my team. No one was expecting that. I was not expecting that. I was losing hope. I get this win against Dalton. The limp D's are limp again. But, I'm happy to have that. It takes a lot of pressure off. I was, really hoping that this guy over here would lose, so I wouldn't be in last. Turns out he won. Turns out Becca won. So now there's 17, 2 and 3 teams, and I'm the only one on 4. So
get fucked.
You know what? I got some information on the sheet we're going to go over a little bit later.
Yeah, you kind of got called out on last week's episode. Dalton and Bue were, they were very adamant.
Dalton was going in.
Ass kicked.
But who's laughing now, bitch?
True. Got him.
I mean, fair point. Why? Anything interesting of note for this week?
I mean, the biggest surprise to me was Becca, the 11th team in the standings, beating Reeves, who was first and now is second. But, I mean, that was pretty surprising. I think that was the closest matchup of the week. She won by 4 points or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I gotta make sure there's no target or no win trading going on here. Suspicious. I mean, for me, the big thing was Steele scoring 3rd and losing. Always feels pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best 2 and 3 team I've ever seen in fantasy. Or at least up there. It's pretty crazy. But you know what? We don't want to praise Steele here.
It'd be lost. Like
that. Yeah. Anything else? There weren't even the only close game was Becca versus Reeves. It was pretty. Mine was close until it wasn't. I guess as most are. Yeah, it was pretty.
Beans made hers look a lot closer after last night with Travis Kelce getting 4 touchdowns.
Dude, he had
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
He had 25 yards.
Hey, listen, second highest scoring tight end this week with 4 touchdowns.
Wild. The other one was on your bench.
And doesn't really play tight end, but kind of does. Also plays special
112
teams.
Rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown.
Yeah, tight ends, by the way.
Yeah, typical tight end numbers. So he's going to be starter rest of season. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that was a weird game. He had 7 catches for 25 yards, but 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, CEH was getting a bunch of touchdowns before this week, and then Travis Kelce was like, nah, it's my turn.
Yeah, I mean, this week, I was like, oh, maybe we'll get some, clarity in the standings. No. Half the league is 2 and 3. There's 3 teams in the top now, 4-1. Yeah,
Same.
Two and three. If I can win and like everybody else loses, I can move. I think I can move up to 7th or 6th if like every
Dude, that would be
team
crazy.
loses.
that would be
Yeah,
hype.
so I would be hype.
Yeah.
But
Well, I guess
see.
let's get on to our awards for this week. As always, we talk about our stud, and manager of the week, and we'll see if anybody has any exciting waiver wire pickups to talk about. Agmills, give us your stud. I keep saying stud first because it's always stud is first in my notes, but we always start with stud.
Change your notes, man.
Stud.
Change your notes, brother.
Shut the fuck up. It's your stud of the week.
You're demonetizing us, dude. Come on.
True.
We talked about like sucking off Kyle Trask a few weeks ago. We were already demonetized.
Okay, so I've got a couple. Do I just do one first?
Yeah.
Throw some out.
All right, my first stud of the week is it's actually on Becca's team. Fellow 11th and 12th placer is Leonard Fournette. He had a 30-point game, and she only won by 4 points. So, I mean, if Leonard Fournette didn't have like a career game, or at least the season high, that was probably the difference in that game. So, Leonard Fournette is my stud of the week.
Didn't he have like a shitload of catches?
He had
Yeah,
like
he only had, like,
9 catches or something.
He didn't even have that many rushing yards. He just had
He had
solid
3 touchdowns or something.
Yeah.
With 9 catches and like 80 receiving yards or something like that.
So
Wyatt,
that's my stud.
Any studs for you, Wyatt?
My probably number 1 stud of the week would have to be Austin Eckler. I mean, with the back-to-back 3 touchdown weeks, obviously helped Agmills get his first win this week. He's definitely returned to his form, and I know Agmills is very happy to see that.
I never lost faith.
Yeah, definitely
I
wasn't trying to trade him after week 2 or anything, but he's back.
Yeah, there were a lot of like crazy pop-offs. I mean, I had 2. I think my leader is Gabe Davis. He only had 3 catches, but he had like 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. He scored more this week than he has the rest of the season combined. And when you consider his draft position, Leonard Fournette was like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Austin Eckler was number 4 overall. I don't think Gabe Davis was taken to like the 7th or 8th round. And this dude just put up 30. And in a tough matchup, she really needed it. If he only got 10 points, she loses.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Sharks loses to steal. So it's like, it was a pretty huge performance. The other one I had was, of course, my own player. I have to toot the old horn. Josh Jacobs, 5th round pick, 28 points on Monday Night Football.
Back-to-back big weeks for him.
Yeah.
Again.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think my main pick is Gabe Davis.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to my literal only good player on my entire roster, Jalen Hurts. He's basically a running back 1 that also gets pass yards and sometimes pass touchdowns. So maybe
Sounds like Taysom.
maybe he can help me not get last.
I got another boom I want to talk about, or stud. I mean, we talked about it already, but Travis Kelce. Beans needed a big stud on her team. Travis Kelce is just like absolutely tight end, like negative a million because he's so high up on the draft. I'm learning that if you draft Kelce or Andrews, that's actually kind of like the OP move because you get like a wide receiver 1 at tight end. So you basically start 3 wide receivers. And all the other tight ends are terrible. So, 4 touchdowns. I guess that's really the only stat to talk about, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they were both gone by the time Agmills and I even picked in the 2nd round. They were taken so high in our league. It was crazy. Both those tight ends, but it really is like, I have Mark Andrews in another league, and it's pretty incredible. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I gotta give an honorable mention to Nick Chubb, who had another multiple touchdown game. He's been, I think he might be the running back 1 on the year. He's been
so consistent. Good. Yeah, I think his worst game was like 16 or 17 points a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, not me obviously, but everybody else roasted Steele for picking that. I knew that it was going to be a good pick.
Definitely not me.
But everybody else was like, Steele. I know you're watching Steele. I stood by. I'm on your team.
Chubb's worst game this year is 14.8. And even in that game, he had 141 yards rushing.
Yeah, he just didn't get in the end zone.
Yeah, he didn't get in the end zone, only had one catch. But, like, that's his worst game so far. The pick's been really
pretty
good.
strong.
It's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of working. You know, the fact that they just don't use Kareem Hunt and aren't planning to trade him. But, yeah. All right, let's go a little depressing. Give us your duds, Agmills.
All right. In typical Agmills fashion, this dud is gonna piss off everybody in the group. It's what I do best. Jags not legend Christian Kirk. This guy put up less than 2 points. If you have a starting player on your roster and he makes it through the whole game, so he doesn't get injured, he doesn't miss time, you know, you need to put up more than 2 points. I think he had one catch for like 11 yards or something like that against the Texans. I mean, come on, like he should honestly be cut from the team. Fuck that $84 million, cut him.
I will say the Texas defense has not been bad. I think they've only allowed more than 20 points once against the Chargers.
Yep.
I guess Austin Eckler just slaughtering them
by himself.
The crazy thing was Kirk only had 3 targets. Like, he wasn't even able to play the game. Zay Jones had 8, and Marvin Jones had 11, I think, and somehow Kirk got 3 total targets.
Doesn't make any sense.
What are they doing? I don't get it. He was my honorable mention. Any others, Wyatt?
A dud that I had, I was gonna. He's on the same team as Christian Kirk. It was James Robinson. He has been doing really well this season, except for he kind of fell off last week, and obviously fell off very hard this week. And then another one is T.J. Hawkinson. He had a crazy week last week, and the Lions got blanked this week, so he got, like, I think, 1 catch or something like that.
Yeah, I had T.J. Hawkinson as well. Reeves was very adamant. He said T.J. Hawkinson's going to have a 20-point week last week, and he did. Props to Reeves. He called it. He started him. But then he went back to typical tight end form, which is,
tight end hell.
Doing absolutely
low single
digits.
Yeah. So.
And, the Hawkinson thing's even worse because, their matchup was so close that he really just needed one player to swing it. And so that's why I also looked for that one and went with A.J. Dillon.
Yep.
This guy's supposed to be – Reeves was hyped about him going into the season. He's like, I got him as a steal. He's been pretty bad all year for how high he was drafted. He had 6 carries this week despite them being ahead basically the entire game. And for a total of 3.4 fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean,
and
to me... Oh, go ahead, Wyatt.
It's so weird because Aaron Jones isn't even doing that well. He had 1 good game. So, I mean, just the Packers running backs in general have been disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, Reeves was hype about the A.J. Dillon pick, but, I mean, I look at A.J. Dillon as kind of like a flex running back just because of the split carries. I mean, it pissed Reeves off when I said this, but I still stand by it where A.J. Dillon and Melvin Gordon aren't too different in terms of, they both get 10 carries a game. They usually score somewhere in the 8 to 15 range. But, yeah, I mean, I don't even know who that lead back is anymore. It kind of is game script because Aaron Jones will have one game where he gets everything, and then A.J. Dillon will have one game where he gets everything. So, I mean, maybe, towards the end of the year when they're prepping for playoffs, they try and run A.J. Dillon more and save Aaron Jones, but I don't know.
Even in the good weeks, A.J. Dillon seems really touchdown reliant because they have Aaron Jones, which kind of hurts him because it makes him really inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's had a shitload of carries. He's had 18 and 17 in games and scored below 10 in both those. He only broke 10 the first week. Definitely rough. It sounds like Christian Kirk is our stud, or our official dud. I fucking
Yeah, there's no stud there. No.
We also can't forget about another 0 from Dalton Schultz.
Yeah. And Dalton Schultz was somebody, originally he was kind of, I was eyeing him in the trade. As everybody knows, my tight end situation has been suspect, I guess.
Almost as bad as your quarterback situation.
Ironically, my best player in both those positions is the same guy. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at Dalton Schultz. He's normally a pretty good player. The Cowboys like him. Maybe when Dak comes back, he's going to become more involved in the offense. But as of right now, I mean, that guy's. I mean, I'd rather have Dawson Knox. You know, that's saying so. I'd rather Kyle Pitts. That is saying something.
Oof.
Yeah, the Cowboys. The Cowboys in general are kind of weird because like they don't throw the ball. They do not let Cooper Rush throw the ball. He has. I think he's around 100 yards passing in each of the last 2 games. So Dalton Schultz only has 4 targets combined in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And he was coming off injury, so I actually think he's like it's been pretty bad so far. But I think it's pretty high upside pick right now, as we may talk about in soon. But yeah. All right. I mean, it sounds like I don't know who.
Wait, who was our official stud of the week?
Well, we didn't really pick one because we were kind of all. We had like no overlap in our list. I don't think.
Yeah.
Except for, I mean, Austin Eckler was the stud last week.
Hey, 2-time stud, you know.
I don't know. Gabe Davis. Kind of
Gabe
hard to
Davis
beat.
thing is just so hard because he was such a late round pick and he had 30 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
even
we
though
give
he
it to
only
Gabe
had
Davis.
one 98-yard catch was like half his, like one play was half his points, you know. So, but hey,
And then
I'll
his
go Gabe
second play
Davis.
was like 40% of his points.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'll go Gabe Davis. Why not?
Yeah. Let's go,
All
Gabe
right, we'll
Davis.
give it to Sharksy since she gets a lot of hate on this
Becca,
show.
I wanted to do Lenny, but you know I was overruled.
Huh?
Rip.
Overruled. How about the manager of the week? Which one of your SimStation co-man or not? Maybe
Not
co-managers. We talked a lot about co-managers last
We
week
did.
just on the brain. Which one of your SimStation managers? Wyatt.
I'm gonna
best.
have to say my manager of the week is going to be the man with the dickhead sign.
Hey,
He got his first dub. You got to give him
Yeah,
some recognition.
baby.
I'd say he'd be my manager of the week.
He was also my manager of the week. Crazy.
Damn, thanks, guys.
Not only is it a first
Shit.
win, but he also finally made the decision to swap out Matt Stafford, and that was positive.
That
And
was.
he did play a waiver wire tight end, started him, and he did all right. I mean,
Hey, he got more points than Dawson Knox has ever gotten this year, so
right. So I think,
major upgrade.
you know, you could say, like, oh, he left the best player of the week on his bench, but, like, I don't fault
Hey,
too
I'm
much
not
for
doing that
leaving
He
again.
still got the dub.
I'm unironically going to start Taysom Hill because I said I was going to. I got scared. My balls were not big enough. And then he goes on and does amazing. And with Alvin Kamara being like so hit and miss, and Jameis Winston being so hit and miss, and Andy Dalton just being Andy Dalton, like those are 3 major setbacks for the team. So I think he's going to get more work, goal line.
And then next week he's going to get like 2 points. Congratulations.
And you know what? That's probably what Dawson Knox would get anyway. So you know, the risk is like I lose maybe like 1.5 points, and I could gain like 30. So I think it's a pretty safe risk.
Well, did you put yourself, or did you put somebody else for manager of the week?
You know what? I think the manager of the week. I'm gonna stick with Becca. We talked about it a little earlier, but I mean, she was on the line. I mean, if she loses that game, she's in last place. Well, actually, she's still beating me by like half a point, but she's basically last place. And she's playing against the number 1 seed in Reeves. There's a lot of tension there, you know, sexual as well as, you know, ranking tension. It's an intense matchup, and she came through last second. She had some really good games, and so yeah, I go with Becca.
I also looked at Becca. I think the issue is she left a lot on the bench. She played her worst quarterback in she left Geno Smith, the god, on the bench.
And Deontay Johnson.
Darren Waller got hurt which I guess is not really in her control, but like,
Yeah.
it did happen. Yeah, she played Garrett Wilson over Deontay Johnson, Romeo Dobbs over, or Dobbs, how do you say it? I don't know. Darnell Mooney was also on the bench. So she did a great job.
Well, the
Toppled
problem is,
Reeves,
I mean,
took a little hit to his ego. But
you have to look at who's on her team that's, you know, not playing. So she's doing this without Jonathan Taylor, who's her number 1 pick, and especially at that first seed. I mean, she's basically playing with her best player being the 24th pick in the draft, and in the position she upset number one team. So it's kind of a, you know, doing more with less and getting the dub any way you can and surviving, taking down Reeves.
yeah, she also did make a pretty big future move this week, trading Ramondre Stevenson for Cordero Patterson, who's currently injured, but
Yeah, that's a big
you think
trade.
is an upgrade when he comes back. So yeah, I guess that's fair.
That may backfire though, because Damian Harris just got injured, so Ramondre Stevenson might be going pretty. He might be getting referenced later in the episode.
Ooh.
And Cordell Patterson is like old as hell. So.
This is what we call in the industry a tease. All right, well, I guess this kind of blends into waiver wire pickup of the week. Agmills, I think you have a different one than that.
Yeah.
So please tell us.
All right, I got a great one. My waiver pickup is from the Limp D's, Dalton and B-Way, and it's Dan Bellinger. Who's that? No one knows. He has 3 catches on the year, or I think he has like 9 targets on the year over 5 games. I think his highest scoring game was like 2 points. They take him because Kyle Pitts is injured. First drive gets a touchdown. Ends up
A
with
rushing touchdown.
A rushing touchdown.
Rushing touchdown.
Like, suddenly does amazing. Does better than maybe Kyle Pitts, all of Kyle Pitts' scores minus that 1 week combined.
He has more touchdowns than Kyle Pitts has in his career.
Yeah, and when you go to waivers, because, I was looking for a tight end too because Dawson Knox got injured, and you look at the tight ends, and you look at, like, who's projected to score. Dan was on, like, the 3rd page. I don't even know how he found him. But he takes him. He's projected to score, like, 3 points. Gets a touchdown. That's a clutch move, and I'm happy that I won, but I was about to throw a table because I was like, there's no reason. You have Saquon Barkley at the goal line, and you give it was a double pass end around to the tight end. I don't know. I was about to blow a gasket, but, I won, so it's I'm going to give props.
I wonder if Dalton got this piece of inside information from the same guy that he got the Jordan Mason nugget. That would be incredible. It's just like this guy, he's either got some like prodigy giving him advice or just an absolute fucking ape.
Jordan Mason does have a carry on the season, though. He does.
Big brain.
Wyatt, who is your waiver wire pickup of the week?
My waiver wire pickup of the week was the last minute kicker pickup by Spencer, Nick Folk, who got like 19 or something, or 14.
As we were walking to the Jags stadium,
Yeah.
or we were in the parking lot. It's about a half-mile walk to the stadium, and I think Reeves pointed out to Spencer that his kicker wasn't playing, and so Spencer makes his first waiver wire transaction of the year to pick up Nick Folk, and he scored almost
18.
20 points.
Like what?
Oh, that was mine.
That's pretty funny.
Dalton's is pretty incredible too, because it's just so. Who the fuck is Bellinger?
I didn't even know. I think he's like the 3rd tight end on that team, and one of them got injured, but he's still the backup tight end, and he's only played like 20% of snaps that game, and I can't believe he got a touchdown. But
Dude, Dalton has the tech. I hope he starts that guy against me. I'll just say that. Yeah, I mean, any other waiver wire? I honestly didn't even realize there were that many until these two.
Nope, that's all I got.
I don't even think we need to like decide one for the fucking podcast. Who cares?
No.
Let's move on to the topic today.
No one watches this
we're
shit
gonna
anyway.
True.
We're talking a little
podcast.
bit about rising and falling stars, guys that we think are gonna pick up, and guys that we think are gonna come back to earth. It can be really good guys, just kind of going back to mediocre, or really good guys taking the next level, like Austin Eckler has the last few weeks. Who knows? It could be shitters, going to the bench.
are we doing rising stars, then falling, rising stars, then dropping stars? Are we doing one?
We'll start. All do our rising stars.
Okay.
We'll keep it happy, and then we'll crush everyone's dreams by telling them which players on the falling stars are on their rosters.
All right, can I go first? I got 2.
Of course, you're the guest.
Okay, so my first rising star, he hasn't popped off yet, but I think he's going to pop off, is going to be on Biz's team, and it's one George Kittle. I'm saying this because, George Kittle was injured the first couple of games. I think the first 2 games he was out. And then since he's been back, he's only scored maybe like 3 or 4 points every game. He hasn't gotten that many targets. But they spent the entire offseason designing their offense for Trey Lance, who's a mobile quarterback. The offense is different. But now that Jimmy G is back, they're probably going to bring back the Jimmy G playbook. like they did last year, which favors George Kittle. I mean, he's a top 3 tight end most of the time. So if they blow the dust off the old playbook, I think George Kittle's going to get much more involved. I think he's primed for a couple big games. I mean, I don't think he has a touchdown yet. I think he had one that was called back. So I'm going to look to him to be, probably get in the top 10 discussion.
That's a bold top 10 for tight ends, man. After this rough start, I think my biggest issue with Kittle is that he's a really good blocker, which doesn't sound like an issue, but because they lost Trent Williams, their offensive line has been arguably the weakest part of the team so far this year on a fucking loaded team. It's probably either them or Garoppolo. I mean, I feel like they use him in blocking more than a lot of teams would for how good he is at receiving. And they have a lot of other short range options. They use the fucking, what's the fullback's name? Juszczyk.
Yeah.
Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, they use Deebo Samuel. They use all these random ass
No, they don't
receivers.
use him that much.
I just brought up a trigger word.
I think his highest scoring game was 14 points this season so far.
He is a beast, though.
He is.
God.
He is a beast. A lot shorter than I thought he was. Anyway, sorry.
Wyatt, give us a I mean, yeah, I think Kittle could be pretty sick. Biz kind of needs it,
Agreed.
if we're being honest. Wyatt, give us a rising star.
My first one that I'll throw out that I kind of foreshadowed earlier was Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots. I think with Damian Harris getting injured and the Patriots' upcoming schedule, he's going to be probably a top 10 fantasy running back in the next 3 or 4 weeks until Damian Harris comes back. So I think the trade that Sharksy just did with Becca kind of inadvertently for her got a lot better because I kind of thought it was kind of just a mid trade, a little stopgap for her, which she didn't really need because she was already 4-0 or whatever she was, 3-1. But it ended up working out really well for her because I think he's going to be top of the crop.
Do we know how long?
Of the crop.
Yeah, you go through the field and you just take the top piece of corn off of each stalk. You're just picking.
It's the best one.
That's Ramondre.
Do we know how long Damian Harris is out?
From what I've heard, it's 2 to 3 weeks, but could be 4 weeks because their bye is in 4 weeks, so he might not come back till after the bye. So probably 3 games, maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using that timetable, then realistically, it's probably about when when Cordell Patterson comes back.
Yeah.
So it kind of just makes the stopgap a little more, a little higher ceiling. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got a huge chance because their quarterbacks are not very good. Mac.
Bailey Zappi, Heisman candidate. He's good. He threw for 6,000 yards.
Was he actually a Heisman candidate?
I mean, he was 7 or 8 or something. But.
I know he broke Joe Burrow's touchdown record.
Dude, I think his senior year he threw 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns or something absolutely insane.
College is so fucking stupid.
True.
Well, no. I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about one of my rising stars that we talked about earlier. The guy who's put up back-to-back 0-point games in Dalton Schultz. So Dalton, I was looking at targets today. Dalton Schultz has 17 targets on the year in 4 games. 9 of those came with Dak Prescott in 1 game. 8 came in the 3 games he's played with Cooper Rush. And Dak is either coming back this week or next week. So it seems like a pretty good time for Dalton Schultz to start popping off and actually participating in the gameplay.
I think that brings up an even more interesting discussion of, is Dak actually coming back? I mean, seriously.
You don't pay somebody that much money to sit on the bench.
Yeah, but
unless you're the Browns.
They are not going to play Cooper Rush over Dak. There's just no way.
Well, we'll see.
It's weird because, whenever they have a bad quarterback, their offensive play calling just gets so much better. Because they're hey, we're not good at passing, so we'll have to do what we're good at. And then with Dak, they're well, you better be good at passing because he paid you so much money. So even when they're not good, they just kind of keep chucking the ball. And it's
I mean, you think about it, this is exactly what happened in 2016. Tony Romo gets injured. Dak comes in and fills in the gap, and then when Tony's healthy, they're like, well, we won like 7 games with Dak, so we're just going to keep playing with him.
But Dak wasn't throwing for 100 yards a game.
Hey, but they're winning.
I mean,
but Cooper Rush is 5-0.
Cooper Rush is not bad. He keeps the offense go. Anyway, that's besides.
Anyway.
But I'm just saying.
We've talked more about Cooper Rush than Cooper Rush merits on this podcast. Alex, give us another rising star.
All right, I got one that kind of popped off, and I think the trajectory's looking good, but that's on Reeves' team, Breece Hall. The number one reason I think he's kind of the rising star is look at his carries. He was like a 7 or 8 carry guy, and then the last 2 weeks, I think he had like 18 and 17 carries or something like that. So obviously they're going forward with Breece Hall. He's a rookie. They're saying this is a future. And I mean, just the workload, you're seeing it increase, and he's clearly the RB1. I think Reeves getting him. I think he traded DJ Moore for Breece Hall, which is just absolutely insane. DJ Moore is straight booty cheeks, and Breece Hall is
fleeced Biz.
Yeah, Biz got kind of screwed on that because DJ Moore is probably going to ride the bench the rest of the year, and Breece Hall is going to be, I'd say, like a top 20 RB, maybe higher than that. So
agreed.
I think Breece Hall is my rising star.
My only issue with Breece Hall, like he's definitely the best running back on that team, but they still like using Michael Carter in the red zone. Carter, I mean, I have him on my team, so that's why I know this. He had 10 carries and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he vultured 2 TDs on Sunday.
Yeah, but it's been a consistent thing, I feel like, I've made it my life goal to not watch much Jets football in the last 10 years, but I feel like they use Carter as much, if not more, when they get down in that 10-yard, like the closest 10 yards to the. I'm like, what am I saying? When they get down to like first and goal, they're like, "Fuck you, Breece Hall. We're bringing you Michael Carter."
Yeah, he is a lot bigger, so he's more of a goal line back.
But it does mean that like Breece Hall kind of needs more explosive plays, which we've seen a couple of them from him this year.
He's also,
it means he's inconsistent. Yeah,
he's getting a lot of passes, and I mean that's the philosophy I had, which I mean might not be the best one as we look at a 104 record, but I kind of you look at workload. If they're getting 18 carries a game, I mean even if they're not a goal line back, with 18 to 20 carries a game, you're probably going to get 60 to 80 yards, maybe a touchdown, a couple catches. So just in terms of who's the RB1, it's like okay, 18 carries, clearly this guy's going to get the most touches, and that's most likely going to be. Definitely more points than DJ Moore. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, the trade is looking like a clear dub because Baker Mayfield is just absolute hot fucking garbage.
Yeah.
I got another rising star.
Yeah, hit us with it, please.
So this one was a high draft pick, and he kind of disappointed, was injured early in the season, but he showed up this past week, and I think he's going to keep showing up, and it's Alvin Kamara.
Ooh.
I think having Andy Dalton as his quarterback actually helps him because he gets a lot more dump-off passes, a lot more checkdowns than when Jameis is the quarterback, because if Jameis is in trouble, he just kind of chucks it. And, I mean, we saw that this week. I think he had like 18 points, finally did something for Spencer, and I think he is going to continue the upward trend.
I'm really hoping you're wrong on that one. I play him next week. I have a history of playing, running backs when they have career games. I played Aaron Jones when he had 30. I played Derrick Henry, he had 30. So I'm really hoping I don't get another 30-point running back. That'd be really cool, but we'll see.
So what other running back does Spencer have? Because I feel like this should be my next rising star.
Saquon.
Okay, never mind. My other rising star was Alan Lazard for Beans. I think that after he missed the first week, and then it took him a little while to come back. I think he was still – that offense is so weird. But he's seen his targets go up or stay the same every week. Like, he didn't pop off this week like he did last week, but he did get a touchdown this week. And I think it's kind of clear that, like, Aaron Rodgers pretty much only trusts Lazard and Dobbs at this point. So Lazard's probably the better player of the two. So he should be a wide receiver one. Yeah, I mean, so So that makes you really excited. Like he may not be like a starter, but I could see him being a pretty consistent flex or wide receiver 2 for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe even popping off some games, score like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns is not inconceivable for a guy playing with Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, he has a touchdown in every game he's played so far. So
Yeah, I think
he gets the red zone work. Yeah,
really?
I'm pretty sure he's played 3 games and has 3 touchdowns.
He's played 4 games and has 3 touchdowns. So yeah, 3 of 4.
What?
I have it up right here. Last
Okay.
week he did not. He just had a shitload of yards.
Anyways,
But yeah, anyways, yeah, you got to think the Stonks are up. Stonks up. Anyone have any rising stars before we close it out? Any exciting ones?
that's all I got.
I mean, you could mention Eckler, but we already talked about him as a stud. But I mean, the first 3
Right.
games he got 9, 13 and 9 again, and no touchdowns. And then the last 2 weeks he scored 63 points. So
True.
But we already talked about him. So, and it's my own player.
If he's a rising star, the league has a fucking problem.
Yeah, he's already risen.
Yeah, he is Jesus full out of the tomb risen already. My only other one was David Njoku. I think that he's like clearly the number 2 passing option outside of the running backs for the Browns. They kind of suck because Jacoby Brissett is terrible. But I think especially when Deshaun Watson comes back, Njoku will be the best tight end he's ever played with, which seems like a good-ish thing.
Also,
I don't know.
I mean, he played with Jordan Leggett at Clemson, so.
Of course.
Jets legend he put for the Jets? He was fair. I think he made a practice squad.
Let's make some fantasy owners want to kill themselves now. Let's talk about falling
Too late.
stars.
Oh.
Guys that are stonks are going straight down.
All right, I got 2 hot takes on this one, and I'll probably get roasted for both of them, but I'm talking about the future.
Get ready, Reeves. This is your time to roast.
Well, actually, the first one, you know what? This is actually my second one, but because you mentioned Reeves, I'm going to start with it. I don't know how far it's going to hurt because this guy's really good, but I'm going to talk about Amon-Ra. Okay, because this guy has been, top-tier wide receiver. I mean, he's been doing great. But we have to look at a couple of things. DeAndre Swift, might be coming back at some point. Maybe. We'll see.
Please.
So DeAndre Swift is a receiving back a lot of the times, right? He gets a lot of receptions. So there's him. Jameson Williams, who's the rookie from Alabama that they drafted. I think he was one of their first-round picks or a top. He was drafted
I think
pretty
he was
high
first
up.
round.
Top 12.
Yeah,
He was
so
number 12 overall.
and they talk really highly of him. I think he's been doing some workouts with them and training and everything, and they're super hyped with him. So when he gets back, that might also soften the receiving room. And Jared Goff is playing really well, and he's not this good. So I think that if you just look at history, Jared Goff might start to fall off. I mean, he's putting up like 50 points a game. And if he starts to fall off and there become a lot more receiving options for him, plus Amon might fall into the category of, hey, let's just double cover this guy and take him away. But we'll see. I mean, I don't think he's falling off yet, and there's still, I think, a little bit of time before all these guys come back. But I think he's one to watch.
Definitely a hot take.
Yeah, that's.
Listen,
I can see it.
I'm sweating. I think the issue that I would have with that, I think most of the points are fair, but one, the Lions' defense is so terrible that they're going to have to throw in games to stay up, right? And Amon-Ra, even though he's one of many, he is the best one currently. I mean, maybe DeAndre Swift, I guess, but I'd probably take Amon-Ra St. Brown. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of targets. You didn't even mention Josh Reynolds, who had a really nice game this week and definitely has shown some rapport with Jared Goff. But yeah, let's see if you're hot, spicy.
Hey, I will see. I don't know if it's going to be in a couple weeks or halfway through the season, but I mean, Jared Goff is a big question. He is not this good. He's is he? Come on.
He went to a Super Bowl.
Right. Okay,
he went to a Super Bowl.
He barely got carried. And didn't they score 3 points in that Super
That's
Bowl?
That's like saying Jimmy G is good because he went to a Super Bowl.
I'm saying
what?
they're good
That's
enough.
like saying Tom Brady is good.
Yeah, fucking dog water. I'm saying they're good enough. Unless you're Matt Stafford, making a Super Bowl is it's not easy.
I mean, when Daniel Jones is there this year, you're going to be like, oh, he's not very good.
Nah, Daniel Jones is the GOAT.
All
Why?
right.
Give us make someone's dreams hopeless.
Time to ruin Agmills' dreams. I'm
They're
so
already
sorry
ruined.
for this.
They're already ruined.
Oh no!
I think David Montgomery is going to be pretty mediocre to bad for the next good chunk of weeks. Part of it is because his injury could keep nagging him. According to Reeves, Khalil Herbert is going to take over the starting spot, but
He did score 1 point last week.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I know. But mainly because their schedule, they play a lot of very good defenses in the next 6 to 7 weeks. I was looking at this because I was trying to see if I can trade with you, but I can't because I don't think he's going to be very good against all these defenses. Especially because their offense is just terrible because Justin Fields is fucking terrible. But yeah, I think Montgomery's going to be a falling star.
Fields is also throwing the ball more than 8 times a game now.
I think he had
still
15.
not a lot.
I think he had 15 completions.
completions.
Which is
Yeah,
a season
wow.
high.
I mean, that's like Joe Flacco throwing 60 passes. It's basically the same thing. I mean, a running back throwing 15 completions is pretty impressive. Yeah, but the thing is, they don't really do anything else. So someone's got to get the carries, right? And Montgomery didn't look hampered from his injury this week.
I think he had 65 receiving yards and 3 catches, and then rushing it was bad. I think he had 12 carries for 20 yards.
For 20 yards.
And I think week 1 he had 17 carries for 30 yards.
Well, that was against the Niners. The Niners are fucking crazy, as we're learning.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess I like Montgomery because, what the hell else are the Bears going to do? And, their defense is good enough where they shouldn't get down 21-0 in the first half like they did this week, to where they have to stop running. I don't know. Maybe he will be shit.
I mean, my only thing is they play the Commanders, who have had a decent running defense. Patriots have a really good run defense. Cowboys have a really good defense. Dolphins, they've been all right. And then Lions is terrible.
I mean, Montgomery
so probably go crazy on that.
Jeff Wilson is going to be the starter until Bitch Boy comes back. So as long as Bitch Boy doesn't come back during this rough stretch of defense, then that's when they'll switch. So Jeff Wilson is still the man. I don't know why Dalton didn't take him. I don't know why he chose Jason Mason over him, but I mean that's neither here nor there.
Good old Jason Mason. My first falling star is also from Agmills.
Are you serious, guys? I won 1 game and all my team is falling off.
It's not as big name of a player in this case, but Curtis Samuel's been pretty good for you the past, especially he kind of kept you in some of the games early in the season.
Yeah.
But I think he's plummeting to where he's almost going to be unrosterable. He and J.D. McKissick are kind of in the same boat where Brian Robinson's coming back, and so everyone just gets less touches. Curtis Samuel has not run the ball, has no rushing yards the last 2 weeks, and that was kind of part of his pop-off in the first couple weeks. Now he's kind of just a mediocre receiver that never gets targets in the red zone. So,
hey, I want to point out that he is only actually, I don't think he didn't even start for my team this week because I had Chris Godwin was healthy. Curtis Samuel was just a Chris Godwin backup, and he's also kind of a Keenan Allen backup. I mean, my second wide receiver drafted hasn't played a game yet, so these guys are all.
Hey, you played week 1.
He played 1 drive and had 8 points in that drive. But yeah, I don't mind these guys falling off because they're all just scrambling waiver picks. Actually, yeah, he was a waiver pick.
David Montgomery, your 5th round draft pick, was a scrambling waiver pick?
Yes.
Well, Jeff Wilson is doing better than him. Montgomery, I can relate to.
I mean, I wasn't thinking all big name players for this segment. I was just thinking someone who's going to plummet from where they've been.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel's been a fringe flex player.
Yeah, I think he's had 15 points
weeks.
and then 19 points in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I question whether he's going to get 10 more than once for the rest of the season.
We'll see. I got another falling star real quick, and that's on the Limp D's. Shout out to B-Way and Dalton, and that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That's another one I had.
Oh, high five! Never mind. No, don't do that. I think he's been kind of way better than everyone expected. I think when he was drafted, Reeves said something like, "Dalton, what the hell are you doing?" And he's averaged like 20 points a week. But this last game, he kind of didn't do anything. Kelsey kind of reestablished himself as the red zone guy. That offense is starting to click in the passing game more than they were. And also, Clyde Edwards is just not that great. I mean, he's a scummy SEC player, first off. He beat Clemson, so he's already terrible, and we hate him. But I just don't think that offense is going to keep rushing him as much.
That's fair. I agree. I think the touchdown regression is going to hit him because he had so many in the first few weeks, and obviously didn't have one last night because Travis Kelce got all of them. And I think that could continue to happen.
Plus the Juju angle. Okay, the Juju angle is going to increase.
Juju angle.
I think Juju gets minimum 15 touchdowns for the rest of the season.
I don't know about that.
Because I have to start him at wide receiver 1 this week. So
oh yeah, you're completely.
listen, we'll talk about that in the
that's coming up
preview. Don't worry, my ass will be wide open. Sorry. Moving on. My next player was going to be wide receiver Michael Pittman. He hasn't actually been that good this year, but he was drafted pretty highly for Wyatt's team.
Wyatt, what the hell are you doing in your draft? He picked Michael Pittman and then Travis Etienne as a starting wide receiver and starting
Michael Pittman was literally supposed to be a good wide receiver. Shut the fuck up.
Well, we didn't realize that he was playing with the corpse of fucking Matt Ryan, an offensive line that kept all 5 of its pieces and regressed from top 5 to bottom 10 somehow.
That's so crazy.
Jonathan Taylor not doing anything. And literally no one else on the team to catch passes. So Michael Pittman's going to get the hardest defensive back every week. His quarterback can't throw, and they can't run the ball. Like, what? He's like, is he going to? He may end up as a low-end wide receiver, too, just because they literally have no one else to throw to. But
also, he was not my starting receiver. Jamar Chase is my starting receiver, who also fucking sucks.
Okay. Yeah!
I love fantasy football!
Anyone have any other falling stars they want to...
I'm going to say Wyatt as a manager. He started off really strong, and now it's just a downward spiral. And, And you know what? In comparison,
in the history of the podcast.
In comparison, I want to nominate myself as a rising star. I come back, I won a game. It's the beginning of greatness. So,
I'm gonna say a falling star is the shit talk that this league has had. It was really funny at the first few weeks, and then it just kind of got toxic. I'm not gonna name any names or ocean. I'm not going to name any ocean creatures or anyone that has been toxic in this chat previously, but yeah, it's I think it's starting to die down, but it's still there's not even a fun level of trash talk. It's just kind of depressing.
Well, you know what it is? It's because there's actual punishments and rewards. It's not like, oh, haha, I lost. It's like you're going to be a stripper downtown. And so I think there's a lot of pressure.
Well, you also get your nickname changed in Discord and get the stinky roll.
No one cares about that. That's like the least. Like no one cares. My name is.
That's pretty devastating.
Well, it depends. I think because I know some people were saying that we should do it till the real Super Bowl, which is like a month. I was thinking till the beginning of next season.
Yeah, we should really do it at the beginning of next season.
8 months. Yeah. But. I wonder how toxic it would be if we had weekly lowest scoring punishments like Dalton was talking about this week.
Awful. That would be awful.
I'm talking to this girl, side note, derail the podcast, make this its own segment. I'm talking to this girl, and they have a 14-person league, and they do weekly punishments. Which, by the way, 14-person league, that's terrible.
That's too many.
I think I would off myself. 12 already feels like a lot.
But the punishment that was last week, in downtown Greenville, there's a big fountain, and the loser had to fully submerge themselves in the fountain downtown, which people are, throwing coins in, little kids and stuff, and this grown-ass woman, dove headfirst in this fountain.
Oh my god!
I will say I've actually potentially done that in that fountain before.
Oh, the Greenville
so
fountain?
I can't.
Nice.
But that's a story for another day.
Anyway, that's another podcast.
We'll save that for the Intoxicated Adventures podcast.
Is that
Any
a
other rising,
podcast?
falling stars? NFL refs?
Nope.
They're kind of falling stars.
Tom Brady?
Jerome
What the fuck's
Boger.
going on?
Tom Brady is looking like an old man. Tom Brady's marriage, that's a falling star. I mean, listen.
Ouch.
Is it really a fall? I mean, maybe that makes... Maybe Tom will have his dick freed, and that'll make him a rising star. That's my hope, at least,
That's
as
my
a
hope,
Tom
too.
Brady fantasy owner.
As a Chris
Not
Godwin
saying.
fantasy owner.
Not saying. Fuck that guy.
All right. Well, I think we have dragged this segment through the fucking mud.
Good.
So let's move on to the last bit of our show. It's the Week 6 preview. And, of course, we're going to have Agmills talk a little bit about his upcoming matchup with 4th place Spencer.
All right.
Are you going to win?
No, and you know what it is? It's because Alvin Kamara.
No.
It's because Alvin Kamara, who scored 0-6-0-6-20, is going to score like 35, probably 3 touchdowns, and I'm going to have to it's going to be something like the final score. I'm going to predict is going to be like me 98 and him like 138, because that seems to happen a lot, and then next week he'll score like 60, but. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to get another win. There's a lot of people that are 2-3 right now, and like I said, if I win this week, my points for are pretty similar all the way up to like 5th or like a 7th place or something like that. Like there's a difference of maybe 40 points between all those positions. So if I have a big game next week, I might be able to move up to like 10th or 9th, depending. I think a couple 2-3 people. 2 and 3 people play each other this week, which means there's guaranteed going to be some 2 and 4 people. So if I just do my job, I can get out of this absolute shit mess, dog shit hole of last place. So yeah, I'm just looking for that win.
I think you have the matchups in your favor somewhat. I mean, you get 2 Niners players against the Falcons, which seems pretty positive. And Alvin Kamara, despite your fears, the Cincinnati defense has been pretty good against running backs so far. I think they've given up like top 5 or bottom 5 in points scored by running backs against in fantasy. So your matchups look better, I guess.
My fear is, Patrick Mahomes is playing Buffalo. That's going to be like a 50-50 game. I think that Saquon Barkley's playing Baltimore. That could also be a high-scoring game, especially if the weather gets shittier. They're going to run the ball a lot. Seattle's defense is absolutely terrible, specifically terrible against tight ends, as we saw last week. So I think Zach Ertz might have a big game. I mean, we'll see. At this point, I'm just so jaded by people having like amazing games against me. I'm not going to be surprised if there's 2 30-point people on that team. Probably Mahomes and Kamara, but we'll see.
Why, you have Reeves on a revenge game. He's coming off a loss. He's probably looking to pound some little shit into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking too hot for your boy. The only light at the end of the tunnel is he has Amon-Ra on a bye, and he has no receiver to start right now, so he's going to have to pick someone up and play them.
Wait, he actually doesn't. That's crazy.
He has no other receiver to play because
he dropped the Lion. He dropped
Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds.
But it wouldn't matter if he even had him because he's also on a bye because they're on the same team.
That probably means he's making room for a waiver pick, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's going to have to pick someone up and play them immediately. But I mean, I have my boy Hurts. He's against Dallas, and they have a really, really good defense. Maybe Micah Parsons misses this week. That would be nice for Hurts. And then, barring any waiver pickups or trades that I might be able to do, I'm going to have to start Travis Etienne and Tyler Algier as my running backs. And that just makes my heart hurt a lot.
That makes everyone's heart hurt a lot. That's called indigestion. Yeah, it's...
So, I mean, it goes without saying that I feel like I'm gonna get throttled in this game. He basically doesn't have a receiver in his lineup, and he's still projected to beat me. So I expect to lose like by 50.
Is this a potential shit bowl? Maybe
It's possible.
like a 70 to 60 game or something, or
If his team underperforms, maybe because my team is like expected.
you're
to do
you're
that,
gonna pull
so.
the weight of the shit bowl. You're gonna do your job and make it a terrible game.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, yeah, the league ship bowl currently is 78 to 68.
Who scored that?
Reeves, actually. Reeves did score 78. The other team shall not be mentioned.
Who?
He may have a penis for a head.
B-Way?
Yeah. I'm in a similar...
No, he's a condom.
That's right.
I'm in a similar boat to Wyatt. I'll be real. I have my two starting wide receivers, and one of my running backs are on bye week. So I'm kind of fucked. Currently, I'm starting Drake London and Juju Smith-Schuster.
It's a Juju angle.
I'll be
as,
honest, that's a terrible lineup. That's
as well as Michael Boone in the flex.
Michael Boone, dude. Your team
And
is,
Michael,
dude, your team is
Dude, his-
absolute dog shit.
My team-
and his RB2 is Michael Carter.
Are you, dude? You're gonna score 50 points,
So if we're
and you're gonna win too.
If I wasn't against Steele, I would say this is a huge
Shit bowl contestant.
Yeah, this is a shit bowl contestant, but Steele's going to put up like 140.
So this-
I'm going to put up about
Like he
55
always does.
So you might lose by 100. This might be the first 100-point loss.
We've had
The Flame
two,
Horizon.
I think we've had one or two 80-point games so far, 80-point blowouts this season. I expect this to beat it
Yeah.
pretty handily.
I can't
if
disagree.
We're being honest.
Well, you know, if you start
Lamar
losing,
Jackson's been pretty shit the last 2 weeks.
you know, Travis,
So-
if you start losing though, your points for is not very strong. So if you start losing, you're going to start, just absolutely skydiving down the rankings.
But here's the thing. Here's the angle.
The Juju
I
angle.
already have 4 wins. It's never a Juju angle, as I have him in my wide receiver too. I already have 4 wins. Beans was last year with 3. So at this point, I'm just praying for top 11.
Yeah.
I've said this
Same.
constantly that my team is fucked, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're 3-1," and now it's like you're 4-1. It's like my team is fucked.
Do you think 4-13 is not going to be last place?
It'll be like 4-10 or whatever.
Oh yeah, because you won't make the
Depends.
playoffs. Yeah.
It could be last place, but I think I'll win a game. I have good players. What do you mean?
Listen,
One
as
more looking head ass?
as somebody
What do you mean?
who's been there and is currently still there, I know what it takes to lose.
No, dude, you're on a 1-game winning streak.
I am. It feels good.
I mean, are there any other interesting?
Yeah, can I talk about another matchup that I think is pretty interesting?
Yes.
All right,
Hit us.
Do it.
I'm going to hit you with it. You ready? It's going to be.
We're ready.
Hit me. Wait, what?
Wait
It's
a
going to
minute.
be the B&B Bowl. It's going to be Biz versus Bengalwood. I think there's a lot on the line for this game because both teams have not put up that many points. Well, except for Biz, when she played me. She put up like 130-something points. But they're both 2-3, which means one of them is going to be 2-4. And because they have low points, and they're probably going to be even lower once the game's over, because they're probably going to score not a lot, they're going to fall. And that might be, depending on who loses, if Bengalwood loses this game and I win, I mean, that might be a recipe for last place, because I think I have more points than him.
He is 12th in scoring currently. He's 8 points below you and Becca, I think.
Yeah, so there's a lot on the line for him, because if he loses and I win, he's down in last place, and if Biz loses, I think I could outscore her, and she might be in last place too. So this might be kind of the last step to last place between the two.
Yeah, Biz has a pretty big issue, too. No defense
about
and
to
no
say.
quarterback right now
Well,
on her roster that are playing.
She has
this
the
week.
Giants. She has the
She has
Giants.
the
Okay,
Giants
she
against
pick up
Baltimore. She's not starting the Giants against
Oh.
Baltimore. Also, no quarterback.
Yeah,
That's means she's going to get
Yeah, she has. If Dak doesn't play this week, she'll have to pick up a quarterback.
That means she's going to get.
It's just-
And Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, so it's going to be like Ryan Tannehill is the best option, who throws 100 yards a game.
Yeah, it's going to be like Bailey Zappi, Ryan Tannehill.
Bailey Zappi. No one is drafting Bailey Zappi. Dude, no one is...
What if she made the absolute fucking mogul move to pick up Bailey Zappi just for this week?
It's going to be Ryan Tannehill.
Hey.
It might be Marcus
She
Mariota,
could
maybe.
go. She could go Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
He's been like average.
And the Packers' defense hasn't been very good, so that's a possible matchup.
Fields is against.
Dude, no one
Commanders.
started Fields.
Is Jimmy Garoppolo on a roster?
No, he's available too.
So there definitely are
Oh, and he
options.
plays the Falcons, so that's a good pickup too.
Yeah, I mean there definitely are options out there. Yeah, it's just gonna be like when she was against Alex. It's gonna be, does she make the right quarterback choice? I think is probably gonna be what decides this matchup.
Yeah, she made the
we'll
right
see if
quarterback choice
Benglewood,
with Jared Goff. That was a good pick.
We'll see if Benglewood does the Agmills strat and pick up every quarterback on the waiver wire.
Benglewood, do it. Actually, I
say
think
Benglewood
Benglewood
also has-
losing favors me more, but
True.
Benglewood also has Tyreek Hill, which with a third string quarterback and he's injured, is gonna be. Luckily, he has a lot of receiver depth, but like there are some questions.
well, Chris Olave's out, so his receivers depth is kind of shrinking. Chris Olave got a big booger on his head.
Wyatt, what's your matchup of the week?
I've got the other B&B Bowl with Beans and Becca.
How many fucking B teams do we have?
A lot, apparently. Right now, they're projected pretty close. I know we can't really put a whole lot of stock into Yahoo projections.
No. Yahoo projections are brilliant.
I think it's gonna be close just because Waddle could have a bounce back. Depending on if Teddy Bridgewater plays, he might. I think Joe Mixon, I almost put him on my Rising Stars list because I think he's going to start paying off on his draft position a lot more than he has been. Travis Kelce is going to score because, like Agmills said, that game is going to be 50-50. And then for Becca, she's got Mike Evans against Pittsburgh's defense, which has been Swiss cheese since TJ Watt went out. So he could get a bunch of touchdowns along with Leonard Fournette. Maybe JT comes back against the Jags and doesn't suck. Lives up to the number 1 overall pick, but maybe not. I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions on both rosters this week, just based on matchups. But it should be interesting.
Yeah, this one I could literally see both teams winning by 30 and not really be that surprised. It's like if you tell me oh yeah, Jonathan Taylor plays like shit, Ish Smith is not good, and Joe Burrow shits the bed against a solid defense and Becca loses by 50 points, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. Or if you told me that Jonathan Taylor pops off, Travis Kelce does nothing because the Bills have a really fucking good defense, Jalen Waddle has to play with a third string quarterback, and that Beans loses by 30 or 40 points, I probably wouldn't be shocked either. I have no clue.
And they're both 2 and 3, and
Big standings matchup.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. It's a close. Besides Sharksy and Reeves, I mean, it's anyone's game. So.
Yeah, I mean, Beans has enough points where she won't really. I mean, she's close enough where she's within I think 30 or 40 of you, but she's definitely at the top of the pack for the 2 and 3 teams.
I'm looking more at
even
Becca,
if she loses.
Becca has very few points. She's, I think, third to last above me and Benglewood. But it's the bottom 5 teams are all within 40 points of each other. So there's a lot of games on the line.
Yeah,
It's a race. It's a close race here in the back of the pack. That's where all the action's happening. So
it's fine. This is we're just finishing stage 1 of the NASCAR race. We're oh yeah, we still have 160 more laps to go. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess what's the last matchup? Fuck, it's my matchup, and I am.
Wow, what a host!
It's Sharksy and Dalton and BUA.
Sharks. Okay, Dalton or Yahoo currently has Sharksy favored by 40 points.
Well, I don't think.
And Dalton is only not playing 1 player.
And that's a kicker.
And it's a kicker. Yeah. So now, granted, I think James Conner is not very good. I don't think
He might be out as well. James
Yeah,
Conner
he's
might
injured.
Be out.
I don't know how Dalton wins this game. If I'm being like real,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just doesn't.
Derrick Henry's out. It's his bye week. So and like Michael Thomas is still injured. Kyle Pitts is still injured. John Dotson's still injured.
Starting.
Eli Mitchell's still injured.
I don't see the path. Like I really don't.
Your two starting running backs are Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Tony Pollard. I mean, if you told somebody that at the beginning of the season that those are your two starting running backs,
That's suicide watch.
and your wide receivers are
That's almost worse than mine.
And your wide receivers are Adam
may
Thielen.
not have the two worst running backs.
And your wide receivers are Adam Thielen and George Pickens, and your tight end is Dan Bellinger. Like those are. Some,
he has CeeDee Lamb. He has CeeDee Lamb in there too.
I mean, has he really a wide receiver one? Oh. He had two.
He hasn't been so far.
He had two 18-point games, and then he had 7, 11, and 3.
Yeah,
but he might be his best player, honestly, in the starting lineup.
If Dak comes back and this game gets into a shootout, maybe that's his out. And if the Kansas City Buffalo game is as high scoring as some people, my other two coasts seem to think it will be, I am not in agreement.
I mean, dude,
what do I know?
If he wants to replace one of his receivers, his only options, he has 3 options. No, he only has 2 options. It's Noah Brown, who's projected at 4 points, or Jahan Dotson, who's projected at 1 point. And
is probably injured.
1 point? What kind of projection is that?
It's because he's injured.
Yeah.
Why does that bring it down to 1 point? Why wouldn't that just be 0?
I don't know.
1.25 is hard to get. That's like a Christian Kirk stat. That's one catch for like 7 yards. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a slaughter.
Yeah, agreed.
Another 2-3 team.
Sharksy will stay at first, unfortunately.
And the D will become quite limp after this.
Okay, I'm sure there's not going to be any screenshots of projections from one party to the other with tagging that party in the Discord. Not going to see any of that.
That will never happen.
Even though I think it was already posted in the Snap story, but it's not going to be posted again.
No one would ever tell someone to leave the server. No one would ever BM like that. We're fine.
I do want to give one shout out to Sharksy. Sharksy, I got my sponsor, my TikTok sponsor of the video. They're paying for this. They're paying Travis and Wyatt to be hosts.
Yes,
I'll cut you guys
getting many dollars.
Many dollars.
Yeah, see, and this is actually our way of announcing that the SimStation Internet Football will be coming to TikTok. But no, it won't.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sponsored by TikTok. Just want to give Sharksy a shout out. Maybe Becca a little bit. Maybe B-Way a little bit. I think those are the only TikTok fans.
I think Banglewood as well.
Banglewood.
TikTok user. Yeah.
All right.
I will be burning this shirt after the podcast.
I think I've seen you in this shirt every time you've streamed your camera. Since the trip.
This is the first.
Yeah, this might be your favorite shirt.
This is literally the first time my webcam came in yesterday. When have I streamed? It came in last night.
You streamed Mobile Mills for sure. Snapchats. We all know. We know you.
We were there.
Yeah.
Did I send it a Snapchat? Hey, anyway, listen. As the guest, I'm gonna wrap up the show. I think the guest can do it.
That is not no. You can shut the fuck. That is my job, sir. I am going to wrap up.
Oh.
Can I server mute? Can I pull a Spencer?
Do it.
Yeah.
Right. That's gonna wrap up this episode of the SimStation Internet Football Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, because those things totally matter to our metrics, and you're not all subscribed already.
While you're at it, subscribe to Agmills. Link in the bio.
If he starts posting again,
new video coming soon. Yeah. New video coming this week. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm not going to do a premiere because apparently that got 2 views. Everyone boycotted it.
True.
So but keep an eye out.
We are content machines here, and enjoy fantasy and have a great rest of your week, everybody. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh fuck! How do I hit the button?
All right, I'm gonna start eating again.
There it is. Okay.